Happy Monday to you, February 23rd, 2026. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. TJ Walker, Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childress. Peak, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing okay, TJ. Had the long drive back home from Auburn yesterday, and then I got home and the water was shut off again for the second time this month. So stayed in another hotel last night. I am perpetually checking in and out of hotels. So
you're an expert at this point.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know if I've slept in my bed more than I have a hotel bed or an Airbnb in the last year. But other than that, I'm doing okay. That was a heartbreaking loss. Do you just want to jump into it a little bit? Just kind of what. Well, I want to know what Matt's doing, and then yeah.
Yeah, you're all business, aren't you?
I got so many things that
run
through my mind on the way here. You don't want to know
how I'm doing?
No, I know. I assume you're getting over another illness or one's coming up. But when I catch you here in the studio, you're just in between getting sick. So how are you doing? I'm sorry,
I will
TJ.
almost certainly. Minus 2100 that I'll cough at some point. So it's debatably not even 100% over what I was. No, I think I am. I'm feeling okay. When I was sick, and I'd always get this in like high school and even in college a little bit. When I was sick, just from like wiping my nose, and I'm just a big fan of like, oh, there's a paper towel, I'll take that. Who needs a tissue? A paper towel works the same. And I still have this like scar under my nose. Very, very annoying. So that's still there, but I feel fine. Played in the men's league, so the illness was in between two men's league performances. So
nice.
Feel good and happy to be back doing some radio.
How was your flu game?
Good time at Shack in the Back. I was bad. Defensively, I was good, but missed a bunch of layups, which is uncharacteristic.
Taken up after Kentucky.
It just was like yanking them. They had a guy. They had the tallest player in the league, who's like 6'7", and he doesn't really jump very high, but he's just huge.
Yeah.
And I think I was just in my head with that. We were up the entire game. Lost. It's Elam ending. Lost by 1.
Oh gosh, that's a hard
on a fouled 3.
No.
So we were lost by 1.
Did he make all 3?
He made all 3.
Oh man.
And it was a terrible call. It was a series of bad calls.
Are you all going to protest? Or does it say no protesting on the sheet when you sign up?
Strictly no protesting. No, it was okay. It was a fun time though. Good game. Just not our night. But that was a bummer. But good weekend, and we can get into more of that maybe a bit later. Producer Matt, how are you? I didn't mean to jump ahead of you in the conversation.
Yeah, I was a little upset because Steven specifically wanted to hear how I was doing.
Yeah, I hijacked that totally to talk about
my show. I understand.
I'm sorry, Producer Matt. That means you get to talk about yourself even longer. How'd your other shows go today? Were you on Just the Cats?
Not this morning because Michael's back.
That's right.
Because normal days I don't have Mondays for that because those are my long days. But the weekend was good. Got on Saturday, I didn't really do anything. That's the only day of the week where I get to do nothing, which is fun. Every other day I'm running around, doing a bunch of stuff, and I'm busy all the time. So I just kind of stayed home, hung out with the dogs, played games with my friends for a little bit, and had a nice relaxing day. And then Sunday, got up, watched Tottenham get embarrassed.
Yeah, that was fun.
But I did watch the USA men take gold.
Woo!
That was exciting.
Yeah, there better be some free bird. Better be some free bird today.
So I had to go from that to watching Tottenham get embarrassed, which was aggravating. But then after that, spent a really busy Sunday. Drove out to Indianapolis with the roommate and met Justin and Scoots and his nephew up there for the Pacers game. That was fun.
Wait, what? You went to the Pacers game with Scoots and his nephew?
Like, we were given 4 tickets, so he took 2, I took 2. So I went with my roommate, he went with his nephew, but all the seats were together. So we didn't go together, but we met each other there.
Okay. Well, did you have a good time?
Yeah, that's what I said. It was fun. It was a good time.
I don't know. Okay.
Why? Well, you can't hang out with your friends?
No, nothing. I'm happy that you had a good time. I
hope Justin's listening because TJ does not want to hang out with you, Scoots. That's what he's saying right now.
No, Scoots isn't allowed to hang out with his nephew, and you're not allowed to hang out with your roommate. Sorry, that's not allowed. No, I'm happy, and that's why you had a good time. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I'm not going to be negative. I'm not trying to find anything to be nitpicky about. This is a gift from the station, right?
Yeah.
And the station couldn't give you like 4 tickets for a game, and then maybe Scoots for a separate game would potentially get 4 tickets himself.
I mean, I guess I'm not as high and mighty as TJ Walker. I wasn't going to complain to free tickets for a basketball game.
I've never gotten free tickets to a basketball game for what it's worth. I think I got offered maybe back in 2019, pre-pandemic potentially. And for what it's worth, I think they used to offer, and I said no so many times that they're just like, all right, he probably doesn't want Pacers tickets, which admittedly I'm just not an NBA fan where I would go. If they offered me Colts tickets, then I'd probably be like, Colts game. It's the NFL. I don't care. It's a little hard when you got a 4 and a 1-year-old. Would I much more like the cash equivalent of whatever these tickets are? Yes, that's going to be the sweet spot for me, Stephen Peak. Well, like, how much are these tickets?
Yeah.
Oh, can I just have that?
If you're telling me to go ask my boss if I can just have money,
you're getting here's a life lesson. You're getting a bit defensive. I think you did everything right. I'm defending you, actually. I think that that's a nice gift to the producers. I just think that you should have probably gotten 4 tickets, and Scoots should have gotten 4 tickets.
I get what you're saying.
But with the way that this is going, it's probably going to turn out where it's like, well, actually, the Scoots did have 4 tickets. He just couldn't find anybody to use the other 2. Is that what it is?
I mean, maybe, but I asked for them first, I think.
Oh, okay.
I directly asked. I was like, hey, if you ever have any extra tickets, can I have some? And then they were like, yeah, you can have these 2. I gave 2 to Scoots. You can have these 2.
Okay.
I was like, sure.
Well, that's great. No good deed goes unpunished, and I'm the punisher. I'm the executioner here on that. I just think you with how hard you work, you deserve 4 tickets. I know Scoots, he does a ton. He probably deserves 4 tickets too. But good, you had a good time. Did the Pacers win?
They did not. But I was happy about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't want them to win.
Why is that?
Well, because they're like 3rd worst in the league. I'm trying to get them to get that lottery pick.
Oh, well, we have a huge tanking problem, and only you can prevent tanking from your favorite franchise.
You know what?
Smokey the Bear said that.
I hope it keeps happening. I hope we keep tanking.
What a stupid way to do this. And the NFL also and the NBA. Is there no better way? I know they do the lottery. That's supposed to prevent some of it, but like
the lottery's terrible.
Televised knockout tournament.
Yes.
At the end of the season.
Thank you.
And you put your best player or whoever you think would be your best knockout guy, and whoever comes in last in knockout gets the best worst pick.
No, the best worst pick. So like they would get like 15.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah,
the non-playoff teams should have their own single elimination playoff to see who gets the first pick in the draft.
No, because then the worst team would never get the best pick.
They could. You can win a.
It would just be you
tournament.
would be tanking the tanking tournament.
But what do you think the difference is between like the 15th worst team in the league and the worst team in the league?
Game of knockout.
A game of knockout would be that would be so much fun.
Whatever the is.
That's better than the lottery. Would you watch that? Honestly, I know we're joking, but wouldn't you watch that?
Sure.
Yeah, you would. That's an hour's worth of TV that I would watch.
And whoever had the absolute worst record has to go first because that's a bit of a disadvantage.
Yes, it is.
What if we just do a one-on-one tournament with all the 5 worst teams?
I'm fine with any of that.
They each have a designated player from each team, and they do one-on-one.
A game of 21.
Very cool feeling back in the day, or probably present, but you don't get to play knockout as much when you're an adult. When it'd be like, all right, who's going first? And everybody would kind of bicker about it, and you'd be like, fine, I'll go. And then you'd knock it down.
Yes.
But no dumber feeling than when you do that, and then you just get eliminated almost instantly. And be like, oh, okay, well, now I just have to hang off to the side for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how many people were playing. Were you a knockout guy, producer Matt?
Yeah, I liked knockout when I was growing up.
Okay, I wasn't sure I wonder if the youth still play knockout.
I was more of a 21 guy, but I like knockout.
Oh gosh, we've been so busy lately with actual sports talk, and today's going to be a show like that too. But had a decent little streak before getting sick of going to the Y and either just like exercising or doing whatever. Bigger fan of just exercising at home, but playing basketball or taking one of the kids and just like get swimming, teaching them to swim and or doing whatnot. Not important, but anyways, was playing in the gym, and one kid came up to me and was like, "Hey, would you want to play a game of 21?" And I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool that kids are still playing 21." I was a little surprised by that. I don't think I told this story on air. Did I? If I did, you all can correct me. But this was several weeks ago now, maybe even coming up on a month. And he was wearing a Trinity shirt, as a matter of fact. I only say that because it said Trinity on it, but also one of the silly little houses that you all have. I don't know if it was like Seton or Merton or whoever it was, but I would guess maybe like a sophomore or potentially a junior. I'm not 100% sure, but I was happy to see the kids were still playing 21. And I was like, yeah, I was planning on just kind of shooting. I didn't really have much time. But we ended up playing. 21 is an interesting basketball game where everybody plays it a little differently. Like every friend group has their own little spin or variety on it, or at least ours did, or at least that's the way that I remember it. Like, Peak, do you play tips when you play 21?
Yes, but there's so many different rules depending on who you're playing with. I always thought one-handed tips back to 0 no matter what.
Gotcha.
But there's like a safe zone of 15, and so two-handed tips when you're above the 15, you just go back to 15.
Okay,
right?
Gotcha. Yeah, I always played that 15 was a safe zone no matter what, any ruling on tips. That's interesting. I played like that. I knew some people that was like two-handed tips was half, one-handed tips was all the way.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily the norm, but I remember that. Producer Matt, any other rules that you remember, or that sound right to you? Did you all play? You had to get it on 21 exactly. Did you play that you had to hit rim to close out a game?
We did it where if you went over 21,
back to 15.
Yeah, you'd go back to 15.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So basically, if you missed on 20,
you're in
back
big
to
trouble.
15. You couldn't because you couldn't get 1 point.
Yeah, we played in again. Even some of my friends played differently, but this was the consensus. Was once you got to 21 and you had to get exact, of course you had to get exact. You had to hit the rim to like close out the game, which just gave you basically everybody like one final chance to win.
Could they tip you on that?
Yeah, that was you couldn't make it. You couldn't make it. You had to hit the rim and miss it intentionally. So it's almost just like, all right, one final chance for everybody else. And what it would lead to is people just chucking it hard off the rim, so it'd come off so hard. But that being said, people would just not hit anything.
If you throw it too hard, hit the backboard.
Yeah, so you'd be stuck on 21.
Do you remember, did anyone ever play recycled? Do you know what that is? Somebody introduced me to this rule at Murray State, and I said, this is the cheapest thing I've ever heard. It's when you make the shot, and then it comes out of the net, and they jump up, and as long as they don't hit the ground, they can put it back in, and that shot doesn't count.
Oh, interesting.
So
I don't think I've heard
if you
that.
make the shot, you can still miss?
Basically, like you can make it, and by them taking it out of the net and like making a layup, then your point gets taken away.
Pretty hard.
Their ball.
Pretty hard to do.
It's hard to do, but it's a cheap rule.
I think you should have to do.
I think people just make stuff up.
You should have to do it twice.
Yes.
See,
Jump up, do it once, come back, do it again. Yes. Yeah. Left and right hand.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not overly familiar with that, but there was a huge age difference in me being like, well, how do you play 21? And he was like, well, just the right way. I was like, well, we're different, buddy. I'm a lot older than you, unfortunately.
He's like, why don't you go grab your tube high socks and then come out here when you're ready to play us next time?
He was beating me the majority of the game. He was a good shooter, just kind of lived out on the perimeter. I had to turn it on at some point. Make the wise decision that I wasn't going to lose to a child. So
respectable. I once had to make the same decision on a 7-year-old, so I understand.
On the what?
On a 7-year-old.
On a 7-year-old.
When I used to work in the.
I don't know if you're talking about your like dancing contests on the cruise or at.
No, I'm talking about basketball.
Okay.
I used to work before I worked at UPS going to college, I worked in the after school care program with a public school for Bullitt County. So I was worked in daycare.
I did that in Lexington when I was in college.
And
that was a sweet job.
It was a fun job. I liked doing it. It was humbling. But
humbling is the word you use to describe?
I mean, working with first graders, yeah, it's a very humbling experience.
Yeah, well, I guess I was luckier that I had the 4th and the 5th graders. But it was just babysitting. But I thought it was kind of easy for 4 hours. Just, hey, kids, go play. Your kids will your parents will pick you up soon.
Yeah, 4th and 5th grade is probably a lot easier.
Yeah, it was,
they're conscious of what's around them.
It was an elementary school, so I saw what the little kids were doing too. It was all good, clean fun. It wasn't, humbling in the sense of I gave you a preview of what little kids are like, I guess. All right, fair enough.
I mean, I worked with more. See, I didn't. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. But moving on. The point is, we were because I don't want to talk down on anybody, but
no, it's no.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I was, we would have if it was raining outside or anything, they would have free play days in the gym and stuff, and so we'd go in there and I'd let them, run around, jump rope, play basketball, whatever they wanted, and I would just supervise. Well, there was this little kid in the class, and he always wanted to impress the other girls in the class, so he would always act really cool all the time, whatever. Well, one day he was like, "Mr. Matt, will you come and play basketball with us?" I was like, "Sure, I'll shoot around with you guys." The rim is on 7 foot. Okay?
Oh yeah, those were always great.
So it's 7 foot. So I mean, I can literally basically touch the rim without jumping.
Ours had a padded floor.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it just made it even better. So when you're going up for slams, better on the knees. Go ahead.
We were playing, and I'm letting him do whatever he wants. He asked me to play him one-on-one. Eventually, I'm like, sure. I'm letting him blow by me. I'm pretending he's breaking my ankles. All this stuff, and he's loving it. Right? He thinks that this is the greatest moment he's ever had in his life. And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I can give him this moment. Well, he eventually comes up into my face and starts trash talking me in front of this whole class, and they're all laughing at me. And I'm like, ha ha, that's funny, that's funny. And then as I turn around, he's like, "It's your ball," and throws the ball at my back.
Whoa.
I said, "Oh. So now we're taking advantage of me," is what we're doing. This kid we were playing to 10 by 2. He was at 8. He did not score another point. I won 10 to 8. I blocked 4 consecutive shots. And then
Did you let him know about it?
And then he sat down for the rest of the day. Let me tell you, he didn't get any girls' phone numbers that day. I'll tell you that. Not my proudest moment.
Good job, Matt.
But
At that point, you do have to do that. Yeah. Well, good. That's good. That's what you got to do in that situation. Yeah, those gyms were cool. It was a fun job. It was just easy because, again, it was only 4 hours a day. So in college, that was the ideal sweet spot from 2 to 6. Just make sure you didn't have any classes and did that. And then off, you had your whole evening ahead of you to get into all sorts of shenanigans and then do your classes in the morning. It was nice. And then even in the fall, we set up, we called the other elementary schools around town and had an after school care flag football program. That was, it was neat. The kids loved it. It was a good time. So I don't know, but I guess also to some folks, you could describe it as humbling to each their own. The Canadians were humbled to get into the sports talk. Did you all watch the hockey match? That may have been a little too early for peak.
I was on the road.
Did you get to watch it on the road?
No, I drove the whole time. So
did you listen to it?
Nope. What? Well, we were doing the post. They were Zach and Jack were working, so we're listening to
Zach and Jack show.
Yeah, so we're listening to Pope's press conference, and they're taking notes on that and listening to Stephen Pearl's stuff to get all their articles caught up on KentuckySportsRadio.com. So, we were just taking in all that information, listening to some Field of 68, and then Zach was keeping us updated on the score. So it was exciting. I went back, watched some highlights, and yeah, it was awesome. Anytime you beat Canada in the sport that they care the most about, that's true across the board. I love when Kentucky goes and beats Ole Miss or some SEC team on the road, and it's the thing that they all care about the most, and you beat them anyway. That's why I like when the U.S. wins World Cup games, because it's we care about this. This is our 5th or 6th best sport, and we still beat you at it. So that is fun. I did see the women beat Canada. I watched a little bit of that game back on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
We had that on. So, yeah, good win for the USA. And sorry, Canada.
Sorry, not sorry.
They like the 3-on-3 overtime. That was cool.
Yeah, a lot of like hockey purists hate it.
Yeah, that's dumb. It's so much fun. The ice is wide open. It's so cool.
I will say, I don't know how I mean, I guess I could understand why you would dislike it because it is just a little different from the sport. But the best part of your sport is when there's a power play.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just
right.
like an ultimate power play. But Team USA beats Canada 2-1 in overtime yesterday morning. 8:15 start, random start time. I missed a bit of the first period just for kid church stuff, but got to see the second and the third period, which was hilarious because it was pretty much all Canada when I had flipped on the game from that point moving forward. But United States able to survive into overtime and then peaks right 3-on-3 at that point, and United States able to get the win. Didn't take too terribly long in overtime. Just good clean fun. Good clean fun. Producer Matt, did you watch it? Were you up for it?
I was locked in the whole time.
Okay.
From puck drop to
What'd
the
you
end of the
think?
game. I thought it was one of those where you're watching two of the best teams in the world go at each other. You know it's not going to be 5-4. You know it's going to be extremely defensive. You know it's going to be extremely physical. I thought it was extremely entertaining, especially when I think it was in the second period or early in the third period when Canada had the 2-man power play where they were up 5-3, and the U.S. played incredible defense. Hellebuck made that ridiculous save that basically probably ended the game at that point. It was extremely exciting. It was everything that I had hoped it would be, in all honesty.
Yeah, 40-plus saves. 41. ESPN says 41, but there's some that say 40. He was incredible, and yeah, Canada just had all the momentum, and then they were able to, and he was great, just not allowing any goals there in that second period. Then Canada scores, and it's like, all right, tie game, regroup, refocus, figure this out. Third period, it's unfortunately more of the same, all Canada. It's like, I don't think they can hold up again. I don't think they can hold up as long and as well as they did earlier on then. And then United States gets to that power play. It's like, all right, this has got to be your chance, now or never. And it was looking pretty good. But then Jack Hughes, he gets a penalty, so the United States power play penalty is shortened. Then Canada gets a power play, and it's like, all right, well, they already were in complete control until they didn't have the numbers. Now they have the numbers. Is it going to go right back to them being in control? Certainly did. Took no time at all. And it was basically just like hunker down, try to get in their way, try to slow them down, and hope that their shots don't go in. But some of the pictures, producer Matt, and just some of the slow videos, it's like how did they not score? That was wild. It got to overtime, which, as I already said, it felt like a huge victory for the United States just to get there. I'm not a big hockey guy. Probably sounds in it in the way that I'm summarizing the game. But I watch something like that, and it's like I need to get me an NHL team. I've always kind of defaulted to the Bruins just because
Red Sox?
Yeah, like at New England teams, I'm easily – it's an easy draw. But I don't know. Maybe I need another one. And it's just regular season during college basketball. I'm always going to be college basketball first. I hardly even have enough time sometimes for college basketball. But I'm maybe down. Like, that was like you see that. You watch the Olympic hockey. It doesn't – not even just the United States and even the women's game and not just the United States women's team. It's like, this is great. This is exciting. And I say that during NHL playoffs, but that's enough to make me want to maybe get into just regular season games. That was awesome. Go USA. Fun watching a little piece of history. And Jack Hughes, that was electric. When it was going to overtime, did you feel good, producer Matt?
I felt pretty good. I mean, especially because, yeah, Canada had all the momentum, but at the same time, you had to appreciate that the U.S., just put up a brick wall in front of the goal. And now a lot of that came on Connor Hellebuck doing the incredible job. But at the same time, I mean, they held out. You were it was one of those games where you were like, just get to overtime. Just get to overtime. Like, you can't, there wasn't even, you couldn't even find a sliver of momentum in this game offensively. Unfortunately, you had a couple chances, but the U.S. also did a great job of not allowing Canada to capitalize on the chances they had. They had 2 or 3 open goal opportunities, didn't capitalize on them, and that's on them.
Well, it certainly is, and they can suck it. I love them being upset and mad, and they were like, "Did you? If you were watching the game, who do you think the better team was?"
The team that won. Yeah. That's why they keep score.
Maple syrup numbers are down right now.
Yeah. And then they honored. I may pronounce the last name wrong, but Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, Gaudreau.
After the game, had his daughter, I think, on the ice. He was one of the 2 that was killed riding their bike at a family member's wedding.
That's
over the
right.
summer.
I remember that story. Yeah, that's
just
terrible.
Horribly tragic, but nice to win gold. And
his sister's
nice
wedding, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Nice to win gold, and then nice to have them and have that their family in mind directly after the game. Did you see Kash Patel celebrating?
I saw him celebrating in the
locker room afterwards.
It's big win for Kash as well. I see the video going viral. What's the sentiment? What are people saying? I just keep seeing it, and I'm just scrolling past it, getting to the Kentucky takes on some stuff today, and so I hadn't really stopped and read any takes. But what
on Patel celebrating?
Yeah,
I mean, as you would imagine, I think people should be okay with him celebrating. I did see a funny tweet though of Nancy Guthrie. If you're out there, know that we're doing everything we can to find you. And it's just Kash Patel, just shotgunning beers. That of course is just a joke. The comment section doesn't seem to understand that, but that's social media, and that's the internet. No, yeah, I think that's fine. And I know Trump called the team afterwards. That's totally cool. If the team was all right with it, they seem to be okay with it. Nobody seems to be too disgruntled. Nobody needs to make a big stink about it. But that was a great hockey game. More of that. I know the Nations tournament. What was that, last year or was that 2 years
That was
ago?
last year.
Yeah, it seemed like last year. I know that was great as well. So more of it. More national themed events, more opportunities for the United States to beat Canada. United States finishes second in the medal count with second in the gold, second with overall, just ahead of the host country, Italy, who finished third, and who was it? Norway first, I believe it was. First in gold and first overall. That's all right. We'll take second in the winter sports in the European countries. So overall, good Winter Olympics. I watched more than I was probably anticipating, and we'll get to see it again in 4 years. So 2030. Wow. I'll be nearly 40 at that point.
I will be.
Whoa.
I know.
That's not
good. That will never happen. So don't worry about that. We will never make it.
That's maybe not wrong about that. And then 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, right?
Yep.
So a lot going on in the United States with the World Cup this upcoming summer. Us as a country celebrating 250 years of independence, and then we'll have the Olympics in 2028. All right, let's take a commercial break, and then we got the hockey. We'll take your text as well if you want to talk hockey, but we're going to turn the page to Kentucky's head-scratching, frustrating, what the hell's going on loss. Stephen Peake was on the plains, in the plains, at the plains. He was at Auburn in the press conference as well. We'll play that. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Turn it up, producer Matt. the 70s and the 80s were just going bonkers to that song. It really rips. Mm-hmm. Do you know how long Freebird is?
No.
Price. Any guesses?
7.
Close.
About maybe
higher.
Maybe 6, 7?
Something like that.
Oh, it's higher than that. Producer Matt's right. Over 9 minutes even. Over 9 minutes long. And then like half the song's just kind of like slow and it's good. It's kind of like, and then once they turn it on.
So they have 2 different versions of the song?
No, it's just kind of like 2 different tones within the song.
It looks like, so what it's saying online is that there's an album version that's 908, and then there's a single version, I guess radio version that's 441.
Okay. Huh.
But the live versions are 15 minutes.
I wonder what the radio version, like when the tone shift in the song happens.
Maybe they cut out like the beginning and end of it, because there is like a whole 2 minutes of the beginning of the song that's just like very, very slow.
There's a lot to cut out. Yeah, they wouldn't have an issue doing it. And going into the commercial, I was giving you a hard time to Steven, just being like, oh, no, you got to play the best part of the song if you're going to play Freebird. But admittedly, I did say, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, see if he does on the way back. And you sure enough did, Producer Matt.
You don't think I'm not going to play the greatest guitar riff of all time?
I don't know. I don't know. You did it, though, and I'm happy about that. We'll be happy if you text in to the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Gameday Men's Health, redefining men's wellness, no shortcuts, just results. Gameday Men's Health. Go to GamedayMensHealth.com. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. GamedayMensHealth.com. If you don't listen to Spears on Sports from 10 to 11, you really should. You can watch it on the YouTube all the same, just like you do Kentucky Roll Call. Scoots is on it. Justin Kalen's on it. And John Spears, Tony Burke. It's a good kind of like old man show. And when Scoots kind of has to be like the young hip guy, that's always a real hoot. But no, they really do. I really do enjoy the show. They're on the YouTube. You can check them out there. But Spears, he's pretty close to joining Gameday Men's Health. He's pretty close to checking it out. It's been kind of like a running bit for a few months that he's like, I may get it. I may look into it. I don't think it can help me. And he's been peer pressured in. He talked to his doctor about it. Doctor was like, yeah, it can only help you. So it can only help you as well. GamedayMensHealth.com. All right. Peak. That one. Boy, there's been a lot of frustrating ones. There's been a lot of ones that make you upset, even when you feel like, I don't care so much anymore. Cats were 8-3 in the SEC. They are now 8-6 in the SEC. Auburn 75, Kentucky 74. 4-point halftime lead, up by 9 in the second half.
Yep.
And you lose the game up by 3 with 15 seconds to go?
Just about right before the foul call.
And you lose that game in regulation, up by 3 with 15 seconds to go. You lose that one in regulation. A controversial finish, a terrible whistle throughout the game. The finish was really bad. And you can still make the case, all those things to be true, and you still shouldn't lose that game.
Still should have won it. Could have won it.
Goodness gracious. That's just, you can't afford it, just like you couldn't afford Georgia, and you keep having them happen. So if you don't make the tournament, and I still think you're in, I don't think you're really even on the bubble as of today. The metrics seem to suggest that is the case for what it's worth, that they're not on the bubble, really closer to like a 7 or 6 seed than they would be like an 11 or 10 seed. I'm with a lot of folks. To me, if you had me guess today, I'd probably have them as a 10 seed. And you lose to South Carolina, I really would at that point have them on the right side of the bubble.
But then you look at how you're finishing the season, the teams you got to play.
Oh, yeah.
It's 3 games that you could easily lose.
But that's the thing, is that like Vandy and Florida won't hurt you from a resume standpoint.
No, but
you just need to get to a position where those don't hurt you.
But you're talking about.
This is just so bad for Kentucky basketball that we're in this position to begin with. But whatever, we just need to mention it. A little disclaimer, if you will. Reading the fine print, we're aware of it. But you those don't hurt you, but if you have to rely on them for wins, then that becomes a bit concerning.
Sure, yeah.
They just don't, like, you shouldn't have lost to Georgia, and you should have closed out that game against Auburn. And you do those things, and then you lose to Vandy or Florida, and it truly is just not a big deal from the resume standpoint. Your numbers don't hurt, any of that stuff. But you lose to Georgia, and you lose to Auburn, and who knows what this team can do. Then you can get in a position where it's like, all right, the loss won't hurt you, but you're in a position now where you need a win. You need a win. You need your numbers to bump up. You shouldn't be in that spot, but here you find yourself. And this team all season has never made it easy on themselves. I actually thought, like, the effort was good enough to steal a win, but still at times, far too often in this game, especially getting a bad whistle, you weren't getting the 50-50 balls. And you end up losing the game in that fashion where Auburn had a weird possession, to say the least, but gets 3 chances at it inside before eventually scoring, and that is the ball game. Stephen Peak was there. I already got to blabber about it on what my producer and co-host Zach Cantrell said was the longest Bud Light Kentucky postgame show that we've had in show history. I don't know if that's totally true, but I'll take his word for it. It's definitely in the conversation. It's one of maybe one other one, but that one, ugh.
That's a big loss.
We were right there around 2 hours. That's going to be the last late one of the season. Postseason pending. We'll see what that has in store for us. But you were in the building. How'd it go? You take it away.
I got to sit really close to the Kentucky bench. This is the closest I've ever been. I mean, on the floor, literally right in front of them, and got to hear what Mark Pope was saying to the referees throughout the game. He was furious all game with what was going on with the whistle. I talked about this after the Florida game, TJ, and you weren't here, but I came in. I brought the book, Scorecasting, where these researchers looked into what makes up home court advantage, and the number one thing, and almost the only thing that makes up home court advantage in basketball is the officials. And I do think that teams that have their students on the sidelines actually get more calls. I'm not making this whole thing about the officiating because a good Kentucky team, with $22 million, you should have a really good team. And a really good team, the way Auburn played on Saturday, Kentucky should have won that game by double digits. But the officiating was bad. I went back and watched this morning. It was bad. Go through all of the calls. I went through all of the questionable calls, including the ones that Kentucky got. Auburn plus 17. So Kentucky would have to win that game by 18 for the officials to not have dictated the outcome. Everything Pope said in the press conference, I understand it sounds like you're making excuses, and I think pressure is getting to him, and he came into that press conference so fast. I mean, usually there's like a 10-minute cool-down period. And he just stormed in there and immediately went after, you all saw it. You all saw what went on. He used the term, disgraceful, personal. I can't remember all the adjectives that he used to describe how bad that was. And it was bad, like egregiously bad. And he's probably going to get fined for it. But there was a moment, which is weird because this happened the last time I was at Auburn in 2024. Calipari had an interesting press conference when he looked and saw Jeff Goodman was in the room, and he said, "Oh, look who's here! You all are going to make this out to be basically calling for Cal's head, thinking that Kentucky was going to lose." Anyway, on Saturday, as Mark Pope gets up, and I know everyone has probably seen it by now, the door is wide open, and he screams down the hallway, "Mitch, if those MFers try to find me," and that's what he said. I'm not even.
Yeah, I like that he bleeped himself.
Yeah,
I think it was the most Mark Pope thing I've ever heard.
I was talking to the producer in the postgame show live as this has happened, and he was like, "Did you see what Mark Pope said?" And I was like, "What?" And he said that, and I was like, "Are you censoring it, or did Mark Pope censor himself?" And he was like, "No, that's what he said." And I was like, "No, I know that's what he said, but," and he was like, "No, that is what he
Verbatim.
said." And I was like, "Okay, gotcha."
Yeah, and there's a moment where I kind of put the camera away and I'm looking at like what's going on. Like this feels like a big moment. You very rarely see that You very rarely see a coach calling out the officials and using the word, they cheated us. The call against Colin was bad in the context of the game because you've allowed I went through the game this morning, several push-offs with the exact same result, and you didn't call it, but you felt the need to insert yourself into the game. You were the furthest official away from that play. There's two other guys that have their eyes on it, and the way that you are positioned, you don't even see Colin extend his arm. So the official who made the call, whether you want to say he did extend his arm, it was the right call, he didn't even see that. He couldn't have. He only saw the Auburn player fall down. And there were several more throughout the game. Mark Pope was on the sidelines telling the officials, and at one point it was the same guy, Courtney Green, that he said, like, this is embarrassing for you. Do you see how embarrassing this is for you? This is going to be embarrassing when you go back and watch this. And he said similar things like that throughout the game. And by the end of the game, right before the final play, he's not even putting his eyes on how Kentucky is setting up. He's just staring daggers at Courtney Green, like just shaking his head and staring at him. When the game was over, he went to midcourt to go meet with Courtney, and Courtney got off the court too fast, and so Pope just stood there, and then he realized he's going to, I got to go shake their hands, and he slid into the handshake line. It's not why, it is why Kentucky lost, but it doesn't change what this is, this 3-game losing streak. It doesn't change that Kentucky was up by, 8 or 9, had the ball, and Owe missed the shot, and Andrea missed a wide-open 3.
Yep. And
then Colin missed a 3, and then Owe missed a 3, and then they turned the ball over. Like that, the referees didn't affect that, and if you could have built the lead up, you still could have won that game. And that's what a good team would have done. This isn't a good team, and I think that is where Kentucky fans just, I don't know if you noticed this, TJ. Usually when the Kentucky coach goes in on the officials, that usually is followed with the masses going after the officials as well. And there really wasn't that response from Kentucky fans. A lot of them in the comments sections were saying, yeah, the officials sucked, but that's no excuse. And honestly, like, I thought this time it actually kind of made sense for Pope to do that. I think this was the worst officiated game involving Kentucky since that 2017 North Carolina regional final game.
Well, that's what I compared it to on the post-game show, not because that one game or that 2017 game had one specific egregious call late, although this one did, so it's not the perfect apples-to-apples comparison. But where the comparison was for me was with 2017. The damage was done in that game in the first half. They called so many just absolutely, like, head-scratching, it's hard to go back and watch that game just because it was such a heartbreaker and a brutal one to lose in that fashion. But if you go back and watch that first half, there are calls where you're just like, that is cheating.
Terrible.
It's just cheating.
And then some of them, they even went to the monitor. I know there was one they called a foul on Owe. That absolutely wasn't a foul, and I think it was his 4th.
Well, I was talking 2017 specifically.
Oh, that one. Okay,
where,
yes.
That first half.
There really was. It was the same. That one was different, too, because it was one guy. He made all those bad calls, and it felt very personal.
It was just like, oh, my goodness gracious. What other explanation could there be for you to call this foul in that spot? But the biggest issue was a lot of Kentucky's key and star players and even some role players, several players, there was enough to go around, were in foul trouble.
Yeah.
All of them had like 2 fouls. A couple of them had 3, which Cal never played guys that already had 2 fouls, but he had to. And then they put those guys in. And it was almost like, oh, they're just doing this to get these guys in such bad foul trouble that even if they even it up in the second half, Kentucky,
it won't matter.
Everybody's going to have to just play totally off.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even believe in 2017 that Kentucky made that comeback because
Cal
they
said
had to play entirely differently from a defensive standpoint. And then that was similar on Saturday where, oh no, like these fouls are going to add up, and these guys. I think Owe had 2 first-half fouls.
Yeah.
Did Chandler have 2 first-half
He did.
fouls?
He had to sit out early, yeah.
Maybe was it Mo or Garrison or Marino? Foul trouble. There was enough foul trouble to go around where I was like, man, Kentucky's getting a terrible whistle, which they always do when they're on the road in conference play, which you expect it a little bit. This is just getting out of control, but you expect it a little bit, so whatever. And Kentucky's winning, so you don't get overly worked up about it. But I did have this fear of like, oh no, foul trouble is going to be an issue. And it was, but that still wasn't even the story. That the fact that the foul trouble or the officials were so bad in the first half and that I thought foul trouble would be an issue, that's also not why you lost the game. Didn't make things easier for you. But I get slightly riled up when people say, well, you would blame the officials, and we're not even necessarily doing that. We're doing kind of like a half-seas. Like the officiating in that call was terrible. But if you wanted to blame the officials for what went down on Saturday, you'd be every bit justified to do such.
Yeah.
That was horrible, and. I think even the foul call to give them free throws to make it a 1-point game.
It was a push off on Pettiford.
Oh yeah,
and then you could have said no call, but he initiated the contact. How about the call on Moreno where he put his face into Moreno's elbow, and then they had to look and see if it was a flagrant? Like it was unbelievable.
That was wild. But Kentucky goes up 3. I absolutely hated that call to give. You're going to give 2 free
for the best free throw shooter.
Free throws in that situation. That's a joke, and they just did it because like, all right, well, Kentucky's up 3, we can do this. And then you followed up with that. How do we not just think that is cheating? I agree with Mark Pope a little bit. Producer Matt, do you have the audio?
Yes.
All right.
Word about how they cheated.
Anybody get that?
No, the media, you're anybody get that?
Everyone was freaking out.
Couple people were laughing about it, but it's hard to not be like, all right, so Kentucky's winning, and then you call a foul that gives them 2 free points, and then you call a foul that is going to give them the ball in a situation where it's almost shocking they didn't call a foul.
I was waiting. I thought Auburn was going to shoot 2 more free throws and take the lead. I was just hoping Kentucky would have enough time left.
Yeah, I honestly, if they attacked a little bit sooner, maybe they would have, but they didn't, and they got 3 chances at it, and it was a terrible finish to the game. That officiating was horrible. So while Kentucky makes it hard on themselves, and it's just this team. It's as hard to watch as maybe the most difficult team to watch in my lifetime as a Kentucky fan. The officiating, good night. That was horrible. You've got 2 hands. You can see the picture where it's almost like, I compared it to just like slow dancing at the prom.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got 2 hands right next to each other, and to the point where. Chandler, okay, yeah. Oh, it is already. Goodness gracious, that first hour. That's wild. All right, hour number 2. We'll read your text as well. Thanks, producer Matt. Sorry about that. Yeah, he even did the cough to give me a heads up. Sorry about that.
Welcome back to Kentucky Roll Call.
I think we ain't done yet.
You personally.
I think we ain't done yet.
With Walker and Peak.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. We've got good college basketball night for you. The first game is the top 25 poll just came out. Kentucky, obviously, after an 0-2 week, didn't move up. It's going to be number 24, Louisville, hitting the road and taking on North Carolina. Go on and raise up, take your shirt off, spin around your head like a helicopter. North Carolina not ranked? That can't be right. Called your name Gilmore, didn't I?
I mean, they were 16th last week, right? I feel like they would be, unless they just really punished them for not having Caleb Wilson and losing to NC State.
I think they really punished them, all right.
Really?
Vandy's 25, St. Louis 23, Tennessee 22, Miami of Ohio 21. Miami of Ohio still undefeated.
Yep.
Calipari 20, BYU 19, UNC 18. There they are. Okay. I was looking for North Carolina. They are obviously listed as UNC. So number 18 versus number 24. Number 24 on the road, 2.5-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite. UNC will be without Caleb Wilson, but they'll have the other big fella who was not playing against Henry Visar, right? Visar, who wasn't playing against NC State when they were blown out. Did he play against Syracuse? I don't.
Yeah, he was a game time decision. I think he ended up playing.
Okay, they won that game by 13, which against Syracuse may as well be a close game. Syracuse is really, really bad. Oh, he played 26 minutes. Okay, so he'll be good to go. All right, well, that'll make that a little bit tougher, especially against U of L's front court. He is good. I don't think Caleb Wilson is playing, although I'm shocked that he may actually come back. But supposedly he's like tweeting and saying all sorts of stuff that he will be back, but I don't think it'll be tonight. But that's 7 o'clock in the Dean Dome, 3.5-point favorite, the Cards are, and we may do some gambling picks with the Chad Hennessy and Shermax picks of the evening, proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years, called Chad Hennessy at Insuramax at today, 502-479-4085. Houston, Kansas tonight, and Fog Allen. I feel like Kansas has exclusively played home games.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? But that would
Kansas and Duke actually don't think have played a road game this season.
Tough loss for Kansas on Saturday at home.
Blown out
to Cincinnati.
Blown out, yes. That was wild. Houston, a 1.5-point favorite on the road, which is, I guess people are saying, all right, Kansas can't lose twice in a row at home. They'll bounce back, but I don't know. You may just need to follow your senses here and say Houston's a better basketball team than Kansas.
Is Darren Peterson, is he going to play?
Didn't Houston just lose at home to
Arizona? They've lost 2 in a row now, right?
So something's got to give here. So that makes a little bit more sense, I guess. It's not like Houston's been
unless there was one, but they lost to Iowa State in Iowa State.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Arizona at home.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if there was one in between or not. They might have won.
Nope. You're right. They've lost those 2. So we shall see. How you feeling about it, producer Matt? How you feeling about the Cards?
Not good.
No,
not for this game. Like, I'm feeling better about them now than I was a month ago. But I mean, until Pat Kelsey can beat a ranked team on the road, I'm not going to feel good about it. So right now, hasn't shown me he can do that.
What's his record? I know he lost to Duke barely by 31, and then at Tennessee they lost by 21, and at Arkansas lost by only 9. So there's some improvement this year.
They were down by 20 in that game. So.
Okay, so they're getting down by 20 in every ranked road game this year.
Yeah.
What about last year?
Some serious parallels.
Has he not won one yet? Is that what you're saying, basically?
I mean, not that I can remember.
Okay, I'll go through it.
I think hold on.
He beats bad teams.
I think
UNC a bad team.
I think
Caleb
Pittsburgh
Wilson.
last year, early in the season, they played them on the road. I think they might have been ranked when they won that game.
They were,
but they
not.
ended up being bad.
They were not.
Okay.
They weren't. They weren't ranked when they played them.
Okay,
They won 82-78 at Pittsburgh. Yeah, that is. I guess he has not beaten a ranked team on the road yet. Looking at they beat Clemson. Wasn't ranked when they played them.
That we've never beaten them on the road. We've never won in Clemson.
There you go. Yeah. Wow, that is kind of crazy. They didn't get a lot of opportunities, though, especially last year. The ACC didn't have a ton of ranked teams. So, yeah. I mean, if he goes the entire season, I guess, this year, then it's something that maybe you think about a little bit more.
Like, I mean, they're missing Caleb Wilson, and, like, we've been playing our best offense of the season as of late. So, like, I don't feel like we're going to get blown out, but I'm just at the point where until Pat Kelsey shows me he can do it, I'm not going to feel great about it.
If Louisville wants to finish top 4 in the ACC, this is a must-win.
I agree with that.
Clemson's been not good as of late. That's Louisville's next opponent on Saturday. Then Syracuse, who is just, boy, what has happened to Syracuse as a basketball program? That will be
one coach too long.
Senior day. I like that goes to show what U of L and the rest of the nation, everybody really thinks of Syracuse. That is U of L's last home game, and the Cards were just like, you know what, we're going to actually do senior night just against Georgia Tech. Sorry, Syracuse. No disrespect to you, but we want people to actually go to senior night.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that. Okay, I get what you're saying.
And if we do our senior night against you all at 9 o'clock, yeah, we worry about people actually showing up.
Last home game at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday is kind of crazy, in my opinion.
I think Kentucky or Louisville playing any game at 9 o'clock is crazy. East time zone teams don't need to be playing at college. We don't need to be telling people, hey, come on out to this college basketball game, and you'll be heading on out into the cold at 11:15 at night. I think when people really break it down and think about it, it's a wild thing that we do.
Yeah, because you have to go to work the next day.
Sure.
What are we doing?
Like, all right, come on out, have fun. College basketball is a winter sport, so you don't, leave your house at 8 o'clock, or again, Kentucky basketball is so different than everybody else.
Can you not schedule it to where the Central Time teams are playing the 9 o'clock game, so that you at least get an extra hour?
Try not to fall asleep. Buy your popcorn and your goodies and your drinks, because who doesn't like eating candy at 10:45 at night?
I mean, I do it, but I don't recommend it.
Then after the game's over, head on home at 11:30 at night. You may be back in your bed potentially by midnight.
Well, Pete, you're not even home by that time anyway, so.
And then
my day's just getting started.
Drive back to no joke. It's absolutely crazy. And then the Cards finish at Miami, and that one will be a tough one. So at North Carolina, at Clemson, versus Syracuse, at Miami for the Cards. And right now, currently in 7th place in the ACC, I guess tied for 6th place with North Carolina. So we'll get that tiebreaker tonight for U of L. That's at 7 o'clock, another big Monday. We love it. Would I say the biggest of big Mondays? Not the biggest of big Mondays. It's a big Monday. Maybe not the biggest of the big Mondays, but you get the idea.
Yeah, a couple big games for sure.
All right, we've been talking Cats. That one hurts. I still think they'll be in the tournament. Just anytime Kentucky basketball slips up, I'm not even where I'm defaulting to. As long as they just don't get blown out and embarrassed, in which case I'll probably just go scorched earth on everybody. Yeah. But any one of these singular specific losses, yeah, you can blame a player for this, that, or the other. I for any of the officiating stuff, I don't blame Colin Chandler. I don't. I saw some Kentucky fans. Well, if you don't extend your arm, he can't. The play is to get the ball to him.
Maybe run a different play than just posting up your guard.
Well, sure, I would default to that, but they felt good about it. I will say, like, all right, is Colin Chandler the guy that you trust to throw the ball in, or is he not the guy you trust to throw the ball in?
I think they just wanted Colin Chandler to get the ball because he's a good free throw shooter. But I was fine with Denzel Aberdeen getting the ball there. He had the first one kind of roll in.
Sure.
Here's what they're probably thinking. Aberdeen just made 2. So there's a better possibility that he'll miss one of these.
Yeah, I understand that. But a lot of teams will put their best free throw shooter throwing the ball in. Not saying I love that. I feel like Kentucky.
You could run the baseline.
I feel like Kentucky's done a lot of that. That being said, I get it too. I'm all right with them throwing the ball to Colin Chandler. I'm being a bit nitpicky with it, and it didn't work. So that you open yourself up to that.
Right.
And same with what you're doing too. Like you know, that works. Teams do that all the time. You don't know where the player's going. You just kind of use your body and momentum to break the opposite way with the ball coming your way. He can out-jump people. He's athletic. Jump up, get it, get fouled, move on. It's not supposed to be hard.
No. It's supposed to be a play we don't talk about this much.
But he can't move because he's being wrapped up.
Yeah.
He's being held. So it's
such a cheap call.
And to call it to just know that, like, all right, you're supposed to be getting 2 free throws here. They're fouling you. They're playing ultra aggressive. And to reward that, and not only to reward it, but with that little of time, you're basically saying, like, hey, we may just cost you the game. We're going to actually, odds are we're going to cost you the game. Between Auburn, who, I don't know, they didn't shoot the ball all that great. They didn't play all that great because they're not all that great of a team. But they shot 40% from the field, 24 free throws. I don't know. It's basically saying, like, hey, coin flip, you may win the game or not win the game.
Yeah. I felt like, I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about that call or whatever, but it felt like, when Jim Joyce called the guy safe during Armando Galarraga's perfect game, it felt like you're just, like, outsmarting everyone else. Like, this is how good of an official I am. I'm making this call, as good of an umpire as I am, instead of just he's probably out and it's a perfect game and everyone would be fine with you calling him out. And if you don't make that call there, does Stephen Pearl lose his mind and say, what the hell was that? It just feels like you're,
probably for like 2 seconds.
But he knows, he'll know.
Just to sell it.
Exactly. That's it.
Because that was just a desperation. Hey, let's just see because let's try whatever. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But absolutely, they take no time at all. And then they'd probably want to, like, try to review it to just hope that, like, Colin got his face or something like that. But it was blatant. He had his arms right wrapped around him. You can't fall for that.
Is there a reason why?
Why was it that official calling it? That was weird.
The one right next to him?
That was weird.
Yeah.
The one? No, it wasn't the one. It wasn't the one like far other side.
Oh, you meant the guy who called it?
Yes.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was near half court on the far side.
There was one baseline and then one near sideline. Mm-hmm. Those two should have been the ones calling anything at all, and not the one that was way over there.
Why can't those guys? Well, I don't know. I don't know if you really want this, but, like, why can't they get together and say, look, that wasn't what you may have saw. But, you can say by definition or by rule that is a foul. And I know the argument that's like, well, if it's a foul and this time it's a foul. No, that's not actually how we want games called. That isn't. That is not what we want as sports fans. And, I thought that one was just again,
has Kentucky ever won a game like that?
The closest one would have been Vanderbilt in 2018.
Where it's just like,
they gave a foul call.
We stole that one.
They called a foul on Vandy, and it probably was a foul. There was a loose ball. I think maybe Jared Vanderbilt tries to save it in, and it goes to Shea. The Kentucky's down by 2, and he goes to catch the ball, and he gets hit. And they called the foul, and I was like, I can't believe they called it. It was a foul, but I just can't believe they actually called it.
Oh, well, I'm talking about where Kentucky just, like, won a game because the officials cheated for us.
Oh, no, not like that necessarily.
Like that Miami, weirdly enough, Miami of Ohio, the John Wall shot.
That was one. Yeah, they didn't call the foul.
Miami inbounds the ball. They're doing a half-court shot after John Wall hits that shot. And we annihilate them, and they don't call anything. After Anthony Davis blocks John Henson, these are just the ones that are coming up off the top of my head. After Anthony Davis blocks John Henson, Marcus Teague just
double dribbles,
walks with the ball.
Yeah,
just doesn't do anything with it. Not dribbles at all. He just walks with it. They should have called it, and I think there would have been at least like a second and a half.
Yeah, it's funny. I never heard anybody else say that.
It would have not been nothing at all. But that should have been called.
Yes.
That's another one. I think there was something maybe with that 14 team against LSU where we got away with a no call.
The Randall putback game?
Yeah, the Randall putback game where Kentucky maybe got away with a no call, but I can't remember.
But I feel like more
often
we're having to change rules because of Kentucky getting hosed by a late call. What was the one on LSU? The tip in.
Yeah,
that one
like
shouldn't have counted. So we changed the
play.
rule there. The shot clock versus Wisconsin. We had to change the rules there. So what I like to see,
I've got a grand conspiracy, and I was hoping that when Calipari left, that Kentucky wouldn't suffer from it anymore. But unfortunately, it's not happening. But ever since the 17, the Higgins game, and the
they're
business? It's the cahoots.
they're all ganging up on.
I totally agree, and maybe after 10 years they'll leave us alone. And 10 years is next year, so maybe we only have one more year of this. But Kentucky. This is not sour grapes, producer Matt, and that's what somebody that it's sour grapes would say. I totally understand that. But in this instance, it's just truly not. I wouldn't say it otherwise. I'm not one to like do this and totally whine about this stuff. But Kentucky does not get this call at home. They just don't get this whistle at home. And maybe there's a game a year. Maybe there's 2 games a year. But they don't get it like they have it on the road. They get hosed on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's been now several games. I mean, the North Carolina game was like that. And again, you do expect it when you're on the road. But Kentucky doesn't get it the other way. Just doesn't happen the same way that it does for them on the road.
I've wondered if it's just the way that Rupp also is, I mean, I felt like in the past Kentucky got a really favorable home whistle.
I feel like Kentucky got a tough whistle against Georgia. And that was at Rupp Arena. Florida one was tough. Tennessee, I don't think that was anything exceptional. The Tennessee home game, I would say, is like what you would expect. What you would tell Tennessee is you'd be like, well, that's life on the road in conference play.
Right.
Sometimes that's gonna happen. And they shot more free throws than Kentucky did, for what it's worth. So it wasn't anything like egregious. And they out-rebounded Kentucky by 15. So sometimes when it's a really, really touchy ticky-tack whistle, you feel like you can't go rebound the way that you want to because you feel like you're gonna get blown for a call. All right, what'd you think about it? Go ahead and text into the Gameday Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. Producer Matt, is that your car right outside the studio?
Like at the front door?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good parking spot.
Yeah. I mean, nobody else was there.
I know. I was just wondering. It just seems like you get a little bit closer every time to the front door.
Yeah, especially because I don't know.
It's cold out.
It's convenient. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind. This is not being stated as a judgment. I'm happy for you. I'm just wondering, at some point, you're going to probably just have the door like creeped or poked open because your car is going to be.
That's the goal.
Right there at the front. Right there, the tippy front.
I hope I can just get to the point where I can pull up to like the producer window, like a drive-through window. I can just climb in.
That's a pretty good idea. I think you've earned it. I think you deserve it. I do remember Rutherford at one point getting on the big guy, old TK, because he parked just egregiously. But that was before we were in the afternoon, so I was long gone, so I have no idea how it was that Trevor was parked. But I think he parked kind of how you were, but like literally just straight as an arrow to the front doors, which made it just inconvenient for like other cars and stuff like that.
Maybe I'll try that one next time.
Do whatever you want. Okay.
There's a text. Oh, sorry, go on. Well, finish
just
this
one.
thought.
I've got to keep pestering producer Matt. Any dumpster update? Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that dumper.
Excuse me?
Your dumpster.
Oh, it's gone. I forgot about. I was like, what are you talking about? My dumper.
Yeah, you just wanted a dumper update.
No, I showed up the other day. It was gone, but there was another problem that I guess somebody from the neighborhood decided I'll use the dumpster as well. Threw like a mirror in there.
Whoa!
And so when they moved the dumpster, it had fallen out. So there was just this giant pile of glass in my driveway. And so I sent it to my property manager. I was like, hey, I don't have the tools to clean this much glass up. He's like, I'll send somebody out there. And thanks, he did. The next day it was gone. So we're all good now.
So just some rando on the street said, hey, it looks like a good dumpster for this old mirror.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And then just missed.
Yeah, not even close.
I weirdly, it's funny how life is, especially when you get older. You got a story for everything. I have a story similar to that. Our first house sophomore year of college. So you live in the dorms freshman year, sophomore year. I lived in a house, and we're moving out of that. And when we're moving out with a bunch of roommates and we're moving into the same place together, and after that we were like, we don't want to keep moving. So we lived in that house for several years after that. That was a good time, right over by State Street. This was over on Sunset for people in the Lexington realm or the UK world. And my room was on the second floor, and it was just one of those cool college houses where you could like go out and sit on the roof, you know, like where the incline was not very steep whatsoever, so you could get out there and sit out there and see the people out on the street and stuff. But it also made it convenient for moving. So I was able just like for stuff that I could get down from the second floor, I could. And I had this window, and I actually think it was like maybe my sister's old a mirror, excuse me. I had a mirror, and I think it was my sister's old mirror, so it was like one that was the length of the body. So it wasn't even heavy whatsoever. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to just throw this into the dumpster, but I'm going to throw it into the dumpster from the second floor. And I think you probably know where this story is going, Producer Matt.
Yep,
but I somehow missed the dumpster, which was totally embarrassing. And it hit right next to it, shattered into a million pieces. And my roommate's dad was helping him move his stuff in his car and whatnot. And he saw it, unfortunately, and just kind of gave me like the Happy Gilmore just head shake, like, nope, that was not a good decision. So we did not have a property management person to take care of it. So I had to go pick glass up out of the yard, and it took forever.
And the yard is also especially bad.
Oh, yeah, because the dumpster was there?
Well, I just meant that the yard is a lot harder to dig glass out of than the concrete.
Oh, okay, yours was on the concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, it was a nightmare. It stunk. And learned a valuable lesson, though, just not to be a lazy POS. All right, the text you were going to read, Producer Peak.
Steven Steak.
Steven Chambers.
Let's find. Okay, let's see. I think this is the text here. I think the tone of our home crowd versus most opposing crowds works against us. So here's what I think happens. Why Kentucky gets a bad whistle on the road. One, officials are definitely influenced by the crowd, and when Kentucky goes on the road, those are the best crowds. Those are that's T-shirt night. Even when Kentucky's not that good, it's like Kentucky football getting a chance to beat Alabama at home if Alabama's having a down year, or Florida, for example. Florida hasn't been good for a while, but it's still fun to go beat the Florida Gators even when Kentucky's not having a good season. So, like, it was a T-shirt night again on Saturday. It was a T-shirt night in Florida on last Saturday. And so I think that when you get the rowdiest crowds for those road games, it's having an effect on how the officials call it.
You could totally be right about that. But, like, a couple counterpoints to that was, and I wonder where you draw the line. The Georgia crowd seemingly was pretty solid. And again, if the Georgia crowd, I'm not comparing the Georgia crowd specifically to Auburn on Saturday, but the Tennessee crowd was great, and they still shot more free throws. The UNC crowd was especially good, and Kentucky didn't get some huge advantage. They did shoot more free throws in that game, but they didn't get some ginormous or just egregious advantage. And I'm not necessarily calling for that. I just want a fair, good whistle. But Kentucky doesn't get these games where you look at it and you're just like, aha. Missouri, you wouldn't look at that game and be like, aha, UK was granted free throw after free throw, whistle after whistle. Missouri was in huge foul trouble.
I'd have to go back and look and see if there was anything. I mean, part of it is Kentucky's losing games because they're not that good. But that's the biggest issue.
The theme that I tried to have on the post-game show, and that's what it's been. It's just like, at the end of the day, this is just not good enough. Any way you break it down,
that
it's just
Auburn
not good
team
enough.
was not good on Saturday. Kentucky should have won that game anyway. Like we've gone through, there was a clear advantage, but this whole thing has not been good. And TJ, there was an issue that I had on Saturday, and I know we got to go to break here soon, but I'll say this real fast.
Goodness gracious.
I know it's going by too fast. The problem was, TJ, was that as Kentucky, I think it's when they tied it up. They got down by 6, and I kind of accepted a loss, and I wasn't really upset about it. And then when Kentucky came back and tied it, I wasn't really that excited about it because I didn't think it mattered. Okay, if Kentucky would have won, tell me that what does that do? Are they closer to winning anything?
I just really don't. Just from an embarrassment standpoint, I don't want them to start on Wednesday in the SEC.
No, fine, that's fine, and I get that, and they may end up doing that, but that this loss may have winning that game could have prevented it. But my point was, I'm not upset. Like, I was upset, but that loss, TJ, there was a time when losing like that would have crushed me. And I don't mean, like, since I got older or, no, like, they've lost games like this in 2023, 24. They lost some really upsetting games where it did. Like, that UNC Wilmington game was only a couple years ago, and that, like, ruined my month. And losing like that against Auburn and even being there and watching the fans celebrate, I just had very little emotions about it because
this team's lost its goodwill. Like that's where it's at. I still wasn't happy about it. Make no mistake. And then on Sunday, just like, geez,
but it's bigger than that game. Like, you got to get back to being great because this 6-year stretch is so terrible.
We're in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, it's so bad. And that game, winning that game doesn't fix that. I'm just over this season, TJ. I just want the season to be over. Let's move on to the offseason, and let's see what kind of players you can bring in for next year because that's where we're at. You're not winning anything this year. These are glorified exhibition games. Don't lose them all because I still would like to be the winningest program in college basketball history going into next season. But really, these games mean nothing. They don't mean anything. Let's just get to the tournament. Let's win our one game and go home.
I disagree with that. They mean a lot just because winning is so much better than losing. But I understand your sentiment, and this team's not doing anything big on this season. So at the end of the day, who really cares? So I see what you're saying. But when they play tomorrow, you need to win that game. When they play on Saturday, if they don't win, I won't be happy. So a texter says, Jasper versus Braylon Mullins is what you get when you prioritize PR wins over best fit.
True.
So I'm out of the game, so I don't know all the inside baseball with that recruitment. But I think Braylon Mullins is one that doesn't get mentioned enough when you talk about the recruiting whiffs or the recruiting failures.
Wanted to be at Kentucky.
When I talk about it doesn't get talked about, I'm talking about myself. I'm in media, but it doesn't seem like even in the media world it gets referenced enough. He wanted to be at Kentucky?
Yes. So but they had to go get Jasper, and it was the whole thing.
Well, that's interesting. That's disappointing. That's a bummer. I figured that he was not against Kentucky because he went and he sat at the top of Rupp Arena. Remember, if you're doing that, you are giving UK the proper time of day. And then when you pick UConn, you're not necessarily picking the biggest bag. I do think UConn prioritized him with as much recruiting money as they have. And UConn's not broke. Obviously, look at their roster. They have a bunch of money. But it's not like I think you were totally outbid or any scenario where you're outbid. And you probably weren't outbid at all. And with the way that Peak was so sure about all this, you obviously weren't outbid. And you were able to get your claws in them. You were able to do the sitting at the top of Rupp Arena and give that pitch and all that stuff. And he still didn't pick you. So you're able to make your deepest pitch. Didn't work. You're able to give him more money than the place he went to school. Didn't work.
They prioritized Jasper, and everybody that I talked to in the media says this. If he would not have gotten Jasper, people would have crucified him for it. Little extreme.
Jasper is not.
But the point is that right. So you went after the short. You're a coach who knows. Apparently they knew that this is what they were going to get from Jasper. They just had to get that PR win. And I'm thinking what's the point of that for the short term? We got Jasper, which I liked him. I thought he was going to be better than this, but the coaching staff, from what I heard, apparently didn't think that. So why wouldn't you just trust if you're winning in the regular season? Nobody cares. Nobody would care. Oh, we don't have Jasper. He's playing at North Carolina. He's sitting on the bench at Carolina right now. Who would care about that?
Well, I know a lot of people have said like, he's not going to be too happy. I don't care unless I see differently, and we do have plenty of season left. Unless I see differently, and I tell you what, I definitely, definitively, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, want Malachi Marino back. But like, money's going to have to be. It's always stated if you hear different radio shows or podcasts, like, well, you're going to have to pay him if you want him back. Okay, like within reason. He's not been nearly dominant enough to garner like the end-all be-all. The only thing is Kentucky's going to be in a tough spot about bigs because Brandon Garrison, see you later.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye-bye. And then with Malachi Marino, at that point he does become a bit of a priority, so you may have to overpay just
They're going to have to. I mean, $3 million is not crazy at this point.
Gosh, you just want him to be a bit more. He's a freshman, and I get it, but like, all right, it is now late March. You're not a freshman anymore. You got to grow up. Time. If a guy throws a shoulder into you, you need to throw one back. All right, one ref has a theory. If one texter, excuse me, about the refs. If refs go into RUP and think I can't let the crowd at this famous arena get me. They don't do that overreaction at normal arenas. That's a theory.
I liked it. I thought that was a decent theory.
There were reports that Mullins didn't want to play with Jasper.
Yeah, that was true.
There's no way they thought Jasper would be this unplayable.
I don't think they thought he would be this bad, but I do think that there was some hesitation. And there was a lot of basketball guys who I argued with, which is stupid. Like I'm arguing with Brandon Ramsey, who this is what he does for a living, not for a living, but he was a college basketball coach, and I'm like, how do you not see it? How do you not see it with Jasper? And he said, I don't think the coaching staff sees it with Jasper either. And well, they've all been proven right. I see where he does some good things, but obviously he can't be the point guard, and he wasn't supposed to be. But that's not the role that he should be playing. He's got to be doing catch and shoot threes. I know he likes to do that step back off the dribble, but handling the ball, not his specialty.
Not at all. And he can't, if the offense is just totally stagnant, he can provide some value in just creating something out of nothing. But if he can't do that, then then why would you ever play him? What would the reason be? Well, he's really good at defense. No, he's not. He may get a poke steal, and that's going to be the best case scenario. But even then, when he gets a poke steal, how many times has he ever tried to go finish at the rim?
Very few times. He's had some really tough finishes. That Purdue game, man, when you watch the Jasper highlights from that Purdue game, when I thought, oh, gosh, if this is the guy we're getting, they're going to be so good. And then the Georgetown game was the Jasper that we've seen all year.
Patrick Murphy texts in. He says, Peak, which environments are better, college football or college basketball, and why? And we didn't front money either. The other duo put the 200 up. Okay, I think I missed that. Root for the Golden Knights, TJ. Also, I started feeling better on Sunday and went to pool and stayed late to gamble with my teammate against two randoms on a 9-foot table. My teammate and I had a chance to split 100 but lost. We didn't front money either. The other duo put 200 up. So you lost $100?
Seems like it was like a free game and they lost.
I think maybe they were trying to get you to get hustled.
Patrick Murphy doesn't get hustled in pool.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you lost. I feel like if some randoms at a bar challenged you to a game that you would have you would have won. Golden Knights, I don't know. Vegas appeal doesn't necessarily do it for me, Patrick Murphy. So I don't think we're probably going to, at the end of the day, I just don't have enough time for hockey. I'll probably just be a USA fan, and every couple of years, and when they do the Nations thing, then I'll get into that as well. But I don't know. I'll just get in the playoffs and maybe just gamble my interest. Texter said, which atmosphere?
We got to get to a break soon, don't we?
We do.
Okay, you want to answer this after the break, or you want to go ahead and just do it now?
Go ahead and do it now.
All right, yeah, it's real easy. College basketball has the better. It's more loud because you're in an enclosed space, but football really by far just the pageantry, especially going to these SEC venues and seeing how much it matters to people. And just the band and the whole presentation is taken so serious that I think that it's really no comparison in the SEC.
Kentucky, a certain Kentucky team heading back to the Bahamas. We'll tell you about that when we return here. One final segment, Kentucky Roll Call, coming up next. Stephen Peak, TJ Walker, producer Matt Childress. Text into the Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. We're on the YouTube. The YouTube commenters are not happy with us. They're avoiding talking about UK. That's certainly not the case. This show's been weird and sad today. That person later goes on and says that, all right, so you were upset that we were avoiding talking UK, and then you're upset that the show seems sad and weird today. There's not too much happy going on with UK. I'm sorry. I wish there were. I promise you we'd be really annoying and obnoxious if there were. And then Pat, I think our buddy Pat says, they talked about UK the first few minutes. We certainly did. Another person says, we have discussed the rest for 10 minutes straight. That's kind of the story of Saturday. And even the same, we're still not solely basing it on the refs, although if we wanted to, we could. But yeah, no, Kentucky was bad.
Yeah, they were the story. The referees were the story. Mark Pope made sure they were going to be the story with what he said in the post-game press conference. And that was one of the crazier post-game press conferences that I've seen, and we've had a number of those so far this season. I mean, there's been, I do a recap video at the end of every season, and this thing is getting so lengthy just because of I got to put in all these post-game pressers that kind of help tell the story. You can tell the whole story with just a couple lines from every post-game press conference just based on Mark Pope's mood, and that one was wild. It was like 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. It's the shortest post-game press conference that I think a Kentucky basketball coach has done. I mean, since I've been at KSR, which is the last 4 seasons, but I've been covering Kentucky before that, and I can't remember one that went under 4 minutes. And I think at a certain point, I think Dem Moore was like, all right, we got to get him out of here. We got to get him out of here because he's going to get himself in trouble.
Yeah, I gave that a little scrutiny just for bleeps and bleeps. Just people drive so far, and we're at 4 minutes and we're cutting it off. Like, come on.
And they didn't do any players or anything like that either. So I mean, but
that just always bugs me. We just got to be professional. You'd expect that. You'd expect reporters to be professional. You expect players to be professional. We got
storytellers.
We got
no stories.
We got everybody to be professional. A texter says Matt Sack's ability to find I've got the hiccups. To find positivity in this bleep storm is commendable, truly. What's Matt Sack saying? What's Sack say?
Matt hasn't been like sunshine pumping too much this season.
Wow, too much.
But there's I saw him even arguing with some of his fellow
oh man, he's one follow away from 10,000 followers. Somebody give Matt 10,000 followers.
Oh, 9,009. I'm gonna unfollow him to make sure he doesn't get it. No, I'm just playing.
Go ahead and get an old Sacky boy
Matt
a follower.
Sack R2NG on the Twitter. Yeah, get him at 10,000.
Didn't he get locked out of one of his accounts or something like that?
Maybe he did.
I see him just talking about GM. A lot of GM talk going on.
Well, that and there's a good reason for that. Right before we came on the air, Kyle Tucker put out a tweet, and I've reached out to Kyle because I would love for him to come on the show and talk about it because he has been big on the GM thing. I talked with him. Ironically, he was at Auburn 2 years ago, and he said Cal needs to get a GM. These other programs are getting a GM. He was really big on the Buckyball. He did a couple stories on him and then what their setup was going to be. I think so. I mean, I think he's going to end up having success. He's at Texas A&M, right? So I think he's going to end up having success there. But this is what Kyle Tucker said. He said the current KenPom top 4, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Illinois, all have a GM. I reckon that's anecdotal, but I'd probably go ahead and have a GM. That was quote retweeted by one of Mark Pope's former players from Utah Valley State, Jordan Poydras, probably again butchering somebody's last name. And he said, in my opinion, there's reason for that. When a GM is involved, decisions move faster and contracts are written better in many cases. For a handful of coaches, negotiations can get emotional, and it's good to have that separation from GM versus head coach. And I thought it was interesting that he used the word they can get emotional because that was some of the feedback that Jack Pilgrim and Jacob Polachek got. You got to get a GM. And I know that these coaches, especially basketball coaches, are control freaks. And Mark Pope thinks, I'll put together the roster the way that I want to do it. I want to play a certain way. Well, you didn't do that this last time. So I'm sorry, but if you want this to work, there is a clear problem with the recruiting, with the roster construction from this past season. You missed out on guys. You didn't go after the right guys. And because of that, you have another 10-loss season. 4 10-loss seasons in a row. TJ, I'm just tired of it. Whatever the teams that are having success are doing, let's try to emulate that. Let's look at what they're doing, and let's pick out the good parts, and let's roll. Kentucky basketball cannot go another year being fringe top 25. I said this before. I would much rather next season be a 1 seed that gets upset in the Sweet 16 than a 4 seed that makes the Elite 8. I want Kentucky to be great from November to March. And I know that that's a hard thing to do. Getting a 1 seed is hard. There's only 4 out of the 350-something schools that get one. So it's very difficult. But we can't have another 10-loss season. That'd be what? That'd be a record if they do it again next year. So, Mark, just do it. Just hire a GM. It's a free position. They're offering you more help. Why would you not take it? TJ, do you have any reason why he shouldn't get a GM at this point?
No, and I've said previously, I don't view it as necessarily I think it gets viewed as a boogeyman sometimes. Hey, recruiting's not working out. It's because you don't have a GM. No, it's because JMI. Well, maybe it's just because people don't want to play for Pope when they get 1 year, the best of the best, to showcase their skills, and that's going to dictate the entirety, potentially, of the next decade of their life, but at least the first contract where they can prove themselves there.
But Tyron Stokes is going to the NBA, regardless.
But the difference between him being the number 1 pick versus the number 8 pick, that may matter on where he goes.
Sure, it could.
It could, and it may matter on who's around him. But you had these
guys like Christian College and Tyron who were right there, and something happened. We don't know what, but with both of them, it was trending one way and then flipped another. And so at that, I do think that I don't know that a GM solves all your problems, but I would just say let's try it. Let's just try it.
And again, maybe JMI is a reason why those people didn't sign. Maybe not having a GM is the reason that those people didn't sign. Maybe it's because they didn't want to play for Pope. I don't know. I don't care whatever the reason is, but I'm right there with you in terms of I want Kentucky basketball to be good again and not just like fringe, like, oh, ho-hum, all right, we're happy to be back in the second weekend of the tournament. No, like I want, if we don't go to a Final Four, it's a travesty, and we're mad about that. That's where Kentucky was, and it just absolutely needs to be the norm. And I don't think a GM totally solves all your issues. So if JMI is still a problem, a GM is going to have some of these hiccups. If people just don't want to play for Mark Pope, a GM could help and maybe identify the people that do want to play for Mark Pope.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm pro GM because why not? I don't think it hurts. I don't think it hurts. So if it doesn't hurt, and there are some people that think it will really, really, really help, all right, then let's go ahead and let's do it. And I do think there is an added benefit to, all right, I get to focus on coaching. I get to focus on this, that, or the other. You focus on, I'm paying you a lot of money. I don't care how much money it is, 6 figures just to be a GM in college basketball at UK. You're playing like a video game, and you're getting paid 6 figures to do it. What a treat that would be. But your job is you're going to have more money than any other place in college basketball, with maybe the exception of Duke. Put together the best roster for me. And let's be in contact together. The head coach obviously is going to have the final say on everything. But, yeah, you're right. It can make his job easier. It can take emotion out of it. All that sounds good to me. So I'm for it. It's just far too often the GM gets spun as this scapegoat, I think.
Or savior.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's UK women's volleyball. September 11th through the 13th, the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar in Nassau in the Bahamas.
We are a volleyball school now, TJ, so.
They'll be joined by Purdue and SMU and Houston, so those are some major powers. And it's going to be a real hoot for folks that are going to be down there.
That is fun. That's exciting.
That is.
So hopefully they make another run at it. I'm sure they'll win the SEC next year, and they'll have a chance at winning another national title. Yeah, I just to close up on the GM stuff. It just feels like does Mark Pope feel like he's just handing the keys over to somebody else? Because that's not how this is going to work. This is not how pro sport the way that colleges are doing this. I think there's only like a couple of schools that have it to where the GM kind of controls everything with the roster, or at least like the coach has to answer to the GM. The GM in this case would be answering to Mark Pope. He would be looking for players to fit in Mark Pope's system. It would be Mark Pope's program. The GM's still under Mark Pope, and he would still be answering to Mark Pope. So it's not like he would just be hands off in building the roster. Mark Pope would absolutely be involved, but he doesn't have to do the tedious stuff that comes with, because this is just so much bigger and different now, and with the transfer portal, and there should be already feelers being put out. The GM should be talking to agents right now. There shouldn't be Mark Pope worrying about fielding phone calls from parents and all that. That should be handled by the GM. And so
I agree with that.
There's obviously a problem with the roster construction this year. Let's not repeat this process. And I'm worried, TJ, that we're like, even if you hired a GM in April, you're just going to be too far behind. Because let's be honest, like other schools are kind of tampering. Like they're reaching out. They may not be reaching out to players, but they're reaching out to the players' agents and just, hey, well, you know, let's just say a shooting guard position was open next year. What would you got any guys who'd be interested in that, knowing damn well who they're talking about? So like, let's just be I don't understand how you could. Is it arrogance? Like, I'm still trying to figure this out, because if you told me, hey, Steven, you know how you do all this other work for KSR? We're going to have somebody come in, and they're going to answer to you, but they're going to help put out some of the content that we may do that week. They're going to help schedule some stuff out. Why in the hell would I be like, no, I don't. This is my YouTube channel, and you're going to come in here and mess with it? No, like, just why would you not want the extra help?
Well, it may be just Mitch Barnhart, because he's ran this college basketball program into the ground. So maybe Pope's like, hey, I'm down for a GM. And he's just like, no, I pay you to be the head coach. It's like, kid, when you go and you're like, hey, I need more allowance. And your parents are like, no, the allowance you have is good enough. That's
got to keep up with inflation, Mom and Dad.
A texter says, watch Operation Flagrant Foul on Netflix. There, hey, Peak makes a shot. You can't see Peak on the camera, but you can see that shot there.
Lefty.
Watch Operation Flagrant Foul on Netflix, and you'll never look at officials the same again. It's all about Tim Donahue. Is that how you pronounce it?
Donahue. Yeah. We know the referee who cheated.
Who fixed and bet games. He talked about how officials teamed up to impact games for monetary or personal reasons. Are Mitch and JMI against hiring a GM? Says, I'll check out Watch Operation Flagrant Foul. I don't really have a ton of time for shows, but now that Night of the Seven Kingdoms, now that that's over, just an all-around great show. Season 1 over, and they're like 30-minute episodes, so an easy binge, easy on like just a Friday night or something like that. It could be a long movie for what it's worth.
I would say, to answer this question, are Mitch and JMI against hiring a GM? One, no, they're not, and I think the evidence is also with the football program who hired a GM. But from what I understand,
good point,
that they've offered, like, Mark, do you want a GM? And I think Mark was reaching out to people about it, and it just didn't happen last year. And I think he's going to have to make that change, because next year is so big for the Mark Pope era.
2 tickets. A buddy tried to give me 2 tickets once. I immediately asked if he had 4. All right, listen, Producer Matt, I'm glad that you are grateful and that you had the tickets, so that's all that matters at the end of the day. I just think there's a little something to, hey, guys, we're really proud of your hard work. Here's 2 tickets. Oh, and then sitting right next to you is going to be somebody else who also worked hard and has their own 2 tickets. So what if old Scoots and Producer Matt didn't like one another?
I get what you're saying, but I mean, like, one.
Did you all 4 like talk and mingle?
Yeah, we all just hung out.
Did Scoots get after it?
No, he had his little nephew with him.
Well, that's never stopped Scoots from having a beer.
Look, one, I don't even know if I could find 4 people who would want to go to a Pacers game that's tanking at the end of February on a Sunday night at like 6 p.m. anyway. 2, I mean, it could have been 1 ticket I would have gone. I don't care.
You're a good sport, buddy, and I'm glad that the Big X gave you tickets. At the end of the day, maybe I'm just jealous that I'm not getting tickets. Texter says, are my text blocks? Also, there's a clip of Bruce Pearl talking to Mr. Green before the CBS Classic, asking him to take care of Steven, and the ref says, I got you, Bruce. I like that conspiracy. I can get in on that. A texter says, TJ, the caller that Saturday night was Con, not Colin. I know Con's voice. Okay. Gotcha. I think that was just what was texted over to me. I don't know if there's a joke in there and I'm missing it or not. South End Josh here. Eeyore Pope is such a passive-aggressive, childish. If you feel that is what happened to you, it was so egregious, then get up on the podium and say it with your chest in front of the media. Stick up for your team and take it the fine like a man. Don't run off camera to your boss crying, what about it, blah, 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 where people can still hear you. Embarrassing stuff from Eeyore.
Could he have said it at the podium?
Eeyore Pope.
Would you have liked it if he'd have said the thing about being cheated at the podium? Would you feel better about that?
If he feels that way, he should say that.
I would, yeah. Just take the fine, right?
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty, I mean,
he's probably going to get fined for that anyway, so you might as well have just said it into the microphone.
Is Stephen Peake's camera gone forever? Says
no.
one texter.
I'm hoping not.
We're not sure what's up with that.
We
got to figure that out.
Known multiple times, but,
25 minutes
waiting.
have gone by and we're still talking tummy sticks. We haven't gotten into tummy sticks, all right? Those hockey sticks. Everybody have a good Monday. We'll be back tomorrow to preview the Cats and the Gamecocks because we can't get enough of this basketball team. Thanks, everybody. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.
Okay.